we know that political violence in America has become normalized far too much. And we occasionally cover surveys asking people what they think about the topic. But this one might be the most terrifying that I've seen because it is so specific and so personal what they asked people. This study is by the University of Chicago's Chicago Project on Security and Threats. They did the study talking to a bunch of people. 5% of overall respondents said the use of force is justified to restore Trump. Almost all of those people said they were willing to participate in that violence, even if it means killing. So look, the percent who say violence is acceptable is lower in this study than in some. But when they're specifically asked, will you kill people to put Trump back into office? Nearly 5% said, yes, I will do that. And I have no idea if this is actually representative, if you can plot this over the entire population. But if you can, in a country of more than 300 million people, that's millions of people who are willing to personally kill so that a former reality show guy who sold steaks at Sharper Image can be president again. And that should send a shiver up your spine. We've got more numbers. 3% of respondents agree with the statement, quote, I would participate in the use of force to restore Donald Trump to the presidency, a number that went up once you made the statement more specific and said, even if some people are injured or killed, which that's bananas. I understand that there can be variation across these things, but the idea that the more specifically lethal and threatening you make it, you get a few more people to sign on than when it's vague, I guess. Independents were just as likely to espouse or promise participation in violence. They were nearly twice as likely to say the use of force is justified to prevent the prosecution of Donald Trump over the document specifically. 9% of them said that versus 5% of Republicans. 6% of Democrats agreed with that one. So there's crazy people all around, but there's even more independents than Republicans, which imply to me that you should always bear in mind, do not simply accept the never specifically stated definition of independence that the mainstream media would have you believe, okay? Independent and moderate does not mean what they imply that it means. Those independents who would kill for Trump are not just reasonable people who have a moderate stance on that and a moderate stance on that and some Republican views and some Democratic views. They're independent of the Republican Party, not because they're halfway between the two, but because they consider the Republican Party insufficiently insane at this point. That's my takeaway, JR. What do you think?
It's a good thought process because I hadn't thought about that way because we do fall into that trap. If they're independent and they're independent thinkers and they're somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle could be 5% away from the far right of the party. They're like, I'm an independent, or they don't want to have to deal with then someone saying, you're a Republican, right? And then they know what's gonna come from that. So what do you believe in this, and that? It absolves them from those discussions, but then allows them in their own brain, in their own voting processes, and apparently in their plans for violence to also join those same folks that they disavow or say that they're not a part of. Now, one really quick thing. This is reasons why I think you'll have the propaganda of, look how big my crowd was. This rally was insane. And then you end up seeing it, the place is 25% full. There's a lot of people who will bark and say, I'm willing to fight. Yeah, I'm gonna go and kill these people, F them. But then once the fight comes, they're running the other way because they're cowards. We already know that. But if enough of this pack of dogs is barking and charging, even the little chihuahuas will be running behind them too and be like, yes, I'm a part of it. This is January 6th, basically. You talk about how big the crowd is and everyone's rallied up to do this thing. It gets people who would say they do it actually ready to do it. If they only see 12 people doing it, they're like, forget that, I'm not dying for this guy. But they don't think they're gonna die. They think they're gonna kill.
Yeah, it's all, and the right understands this. They understand how mobs work, and that's why they're trying to whip people up into a mob. And by the way, you might need millions, I guess, to take over the country, which will never happen. But you don't need millions to commit a couple of random acts of mass violence. You only need a couple. And I don't know if it's 5 million people are willing to kill for Trump. I don't know if it's 3 million. I don't know if they're way off and it's 500,000. But it ain't zero, I'll tell you that. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.